I don't know, I like a lot of places. Just getting to skate places is cool.
San Diego.
Skating. It's all about San Diego then.
Good morning, San Diego. This is Chris Cantori on KTWS in America's finest city. It's summer, so you know what that means. The days are longer, so get out there, clip up 7 days a week.
Skateboarding started in San Diego in La Jolla in 1947. Peter Parkin was a member of the Wind and Sea Surf Club, and they were the first ones to put roller skates on wood and roll down hills. I got my first skateboard in '65 when I was 10 years old, and then when urethane wheels came out, you know, skateboarding took off again, and that was the whole turning into the Dogtown era and all that. '70s it really boomed, and people started riding bowls, and they built all the skate parks. Del Mar Skate Ranch, where I ended up working, it was built in 1978, and it's all history from there, as they say.
My name is Matt Hensley, and I grew up in Vista, California. My first real experience riding a skateboard was Surf to Earth Skateboard Park in Vista. My mom would drop me and my brother off there in the late 70s, and I had a GNS board, some snake wheels, and every once in a while the pros would let us, me and my brother, take a quick little mini run through there and maybe get a couple feet on the wall and then go back into the reservoir. But those memories are very vivid to me. I mean, I grew up riding little pools and stuff in Vista, but it was in Del Mar that I learned how to do a real backside air in the keyhole, late grab, full thing. It was the first place I went to drop in for real in a pool, in the shallow end of the orange pool and then the keyhole.
You know, Del Mar was a mecca for skateboarding, where everybody from around the world came to see. Any day you'd go there, there'd be a pro skating, so people would call the park, "Who's skating?" And it was like a clubhouse for skating. At one time, there were probably at least 9 or 10 skate parks in San Diego County, including Del Mar. And one by one, they were getting bulldozed. The late 70s, they started disappearing.
Well, in the 80s, there was a big scene. It was one of the booms. A lot of camaraderie. Everybody from your school skates. There was no parks. There was Del Mar, but this for insurance reasons. They would open it and close it and open it. But yeah, no, it was very limited as far as parks go.
When street skating was coming in, pretty much, skateboarding was changing a lot. It went from, skate parks, they bulldozed the skate parks, then people built ramps in their backyards. And then street skating, people started riding handrails, and it went from, laybacks and berts to handrails all of a sudden.
Street skateboarding was a lot more accessible. There'd be a ramp for a short time, then the ramp would become dilapidated or get taken down, but the one consistent thing was the streets.
And it was because of minds like the Gons and Nadas who just skated the way they wanted to skate, and I think it turned really into an art form. I was one of few people that was there to shoot Gons and Nadas and Tommy Guerrero and all those early street guys. I shot Gons, shot the frontside boneless at Gemco Bank, which is up in Oceanside, shot Gons down in San Diego, shot him at Jerebec. He just showed up and you're like, what the heck is this guy all about? His tricks were totally different.
I'm just from San Diego, and yeah, absolutely. It's just a giant epicenter of skateboarding in the 80s. Randy Jansen and Goldwing, Uncle Wiggly, GNS, Tracker, a lot of board companies, a lot of clothing companies, TransWorld Skateboard Magazine, and a lot of the industry was here.
A lot of people were moving here. People started to build ramps, and vert skaters started moving here. And then I think in the 90s, there were a lot of street skaters here because there were a lot of street spots. And I think the magazine helped that.
The companies were here, and if you really wanted to get your shot, being here was a place to get it. So there was a lot more opportunity for all the up-and-comers out here because you could go out and spend a day with the photographer and hopefully land in a magazine.
The 90s, that's when schoolyards really started to get big.
The schools that we would skate, definitely School Q, which is San Pasqual.
Bank to trash cans. You always pull your groin because you got to push so hard. That was before anyone thought of pulling a moped out of the back or a scooter and towing in. That was definitely a workout. Usually slept good after a San Pasqual session. Bonita High School, that was it. That was us. That was me and Juke K. Willie would come down a lot. Ocean Howell, Mark Wyndham. That was our spot, Bonita High School. Famous yellow curb, little drop-off walls. A lot of people would come down, so that was always entertaining to see what other people brought.
Jump ramp school that was out in El Cajon. Jump ramp school was incredible, where it was just like, is this real? Like these black banks, and you can just launch over things.
Magnolia School is right across, I'm literally I'm like I throw a stone at it. We used to skate there all the time. I was in all the H Street videos too. That's literally I'm like 100 feet from there right now.
And School W, which is Jerebec, which is famous. Beyond all schools down here, that was our Embarcadero. I believe that was probably top school. That was a destination spot for a lot of people that would come into town. You'd show up there and it was like hallowed ground. It was like showing up to the Embarcadero because you know history of the school and Unatis and Gons. Grant Brittain shot a lot of that stuff over there.
I skated School W a lot, so in the H Street videos, I'm like, oh shoot, there's my feet in the background, and Matt just did I think it was like a board feeble or something, and my feet's in the background.
That was just a school. Showed up in the magazines, it was everything you wanted. Parking block at the top of a flat concrete bank, not tar, balance beam, and that was where you would run into the big guns. That's where I met Donger and John Reeves, Sean Sheffy, a lot of dudes from my generation, and I would just sit back enamored. I'm a skateboard fan, you know what I mean? I was lucky I had my time. I got a break, I got to travel a little bit, but it was never about the money. It was just about the people that I got to meet.
I'll tell you, in Hocus Pocus, the nighttime clip at Jerebec, to this guitar instrumental, and it's Hensley and Sal Barbier skating the flat bar at night. That's a good one. Jerebec, I think, for me, for the time when I grew up watching it in Hocus Pocus, and the video after, not the new H Street video too, all the stuff Jason Carney, John Reeves, Donger, Sheffy, and the Life video Soldier Story. Yeah, pretty epic stuff went down at that school.
Someplace would get big in the magazine or in a video, and then somebody else would come down and try to outdo it, one up somebody. Not on purpose, but that's kind of how skateboarding is. You take it from one big trick into the next.
As far as I know, I did the first backside lip slide on a handrail. That was a School W. And that was just progression from skating to balance beam. Everyone else was getting their licks in on the rail. It wasn't like that was anything special. It was just something. And so people seemed to be a fan of that. People were happy for me that I got that. So I watched people skate that thing. Tony Hawk had a 5.0 on it. Sal Barbier boardside shove it. And we all pushed each other.
Schoolyards were just kind of like a static environment. You could move tables around and put benches on banks. And yeah, a lot of new tricks were invented there. Not getting kicked out. In the summertime, 7 days a week, you can go to schoolyards. So certainly that pushed the progression.
It went from the Gons, and then all of a sudden Hensley came along, and there was this jump ahead with him. And we were at San Pasquale School, and I probably shot, 4 or 5 different tricks there that, got coverage. And yeah, there were those parts where people came up a little more, than the last bunch. And it could be, a few months where it'd be a whole different crew of people you'd never heard of.
If my memory serves, we were skating the San Pasquale Banks, and Mike Ternowski had told some of us, I think it was me and Ortega, and maybe even Sal was there, but they got this guy's flying in, and he wants to come meet you guys to go skate. And it was Pat Duffy, and then he just hung out, what's up, man? And then he just did that fucking running, straight up, just straight at it. I had walked up those stairs many times and never once pondered about trying to do it. And it just seemed too vicious, too steep, too whatever, and he just went up and fucking did it. That certainly was like, oh, holy shit, the game has changed, dude.
San Diego is definitely a melting pot of a lot of influential skating and in the forefront of a lot of tricks. I was blessed to be there witnessing the evolution of skateboarding.
Urban legend back there is how you made your name. A lot of it wasn't necessarily being on the session, but you would hear what somebody did and you take them at their word. So you hear about history changing and about what's going on.
It's like anything, you don't know it can be done until you see somebody do it, and that makes you know that it can be done, and that kind of opens up your mind. I think in those days, there was a generalized push just to keep pushing skateboarding, just like today. We probably had the benefit of video and the delay in that, so that at some point, people only know what's possible by what you're seeing. We were ahead of that game a little bit, maybe, and some of us were pushing hard, not just H Street, but just the whole generation of street skateboarders pushing and being documented. All of a sudden, 3 months later, you go to somewhere in other place in the world and you play that video, and in that moment, it's pretty fucking advanced. No one's ever even contemplated half of what they're witnessing. Yeah, this is where I'm from, and this is definitely one of the epicenters that pushed.
I mean, there's so many spots, all the way from like El Cajon to North County, Encinitas.
Downtown has always been a hot spot. It's always changing. New construction, new spots, old spots get denobbed or something. A lot of like prop up the grate type shit around here. Interesting interactions with people.
There's a lot of spots in downtown. SDG&E building, Concourse, still a go. NBC building, famous rail. A lot of spots, and they've redeveloped, so there's always something that pops up.
Of course, Webb Park, that was basically the beginnings. Like, it was in my Sponsor Me video.
UCSD will always be popular, good spots. Balboa Park is an amazing spot, just to go sometimes push around and people watch. That's a good place to get the blood flowing. And that's one of the places we take the bus from Chula Vista up to Balboa Park, skate around the park, and then shoot down the hill, and then get on the trolley or the bus to go back to where we lived.
My favorite skateboarding spot where I learned so much was Twin Banks, and that's in Vista. That's just the spot. I was on my way to downtown Vista every day, but it's also like where I learned how to do rock and rolls, pivots. It's just where I learned how to do kickflip stuff, and it's where I learned about music. Maybe older guys than me, you know, bringing a big box and playing fucking punk rock, and just the whole thing. That's just taught me a lot. Some good, some bad, you know. Twin Banks for me, for real, is like a holy ground for me. I still drive through Vista and I give it a peek, you know, because it's just spent a lot of time there and saw a lot of amazing shit go down.
San Diego's huge from Oceanside to the border. But a lot of the scenes revolve around the core shops too. Like Rose Street has a crew in Encinitas, as does McGill's. You've got our shop, 6s and 7s in Rancho Penasquitos. We got a new one in Oceanside. Grandeur, sure, yeah. House of Vista also has a strong, healthy scene up in Vista. Then you get Slappy's Garage, all the guys that ride for Slappy's, which is owned by Jason Carney, another San Diego legend. And then Arts Rec Skate Shop. They have a shop in Logan and in Chula, so they're kind of like South San Diego. Of course, Skate Mafia, Tantrum, the guys we're skating today. Tantrum is, I guess, a newish company, but they're definitely kind of like the raddest young dudes in San Diego. There's tons of crews, even though San Diego doesn't have the pros and industry it used to have. There's shops and skate parks everywhere, and there's probably more kids than ever. San Diego is a vacation destination for a lot of people. It's all on the coast, so it's, yeah, pretty idyllic for doing anything. I mean, we have the best weather in the world.
You can skate any time of the year here. For skateboarding, it's the best place to be, I think.
I love where I live, and as a professional musician, all I do is travel. So I'm lucky enough to go all around the world and see a lot of sweet places, which are sweet, and I like them. But I do love where I live, and the more I kind of travel, the more that I do feel that way.
I mean, summertime, yeah, the schools are out, and it's the longest days and the best weather. So yeah, San Diego is a great place to be in the summer, you know.